Hi guys, it's me, Bri, and welcome back to my channel, BriFre. For those of you that are new here and for all my returning viewers, my name is Brianna. I am a 23-year-old medical laboratory scientist, CEO and founder of Aquaria Industries and the Girls with Knowledge Book Club, a writer, recent psychology grad, and I'm here to tell you guys what's been going on with me as far as reading and my new journey into writing my own book series. But first, I must say that I am excited because I see that we are at 300 subs. Like, what, y'all? I just started and like this is getting crazy. I just started season 2 and it seems that y'all love the book content. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna keep the book content rolling, okay? I am so happy and so grateful. I love seeing you guys' engagement. I love seeing all the comments down below. I love especially all the recommendations, guys. I started back reading back in January after I graduated from college, and I have been enjoying and following all you guys' recommendations. So I want to thank you guys for finding my little corner of BookTube and Book Talk, because you guys have been following me on there as well. I want to thank you guys for enjoying the content, for engaging, and like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you guys' current reads are. If you see anything that you're interested in that I present in this video or that you feel like you want to read, let me know how you felt about it, or if it's something that you're interested in reading, because I have a really wide, outside of romance, I have a really wide taste in books. So you're going to see a piece of that in this video today. I'm going to first get into some of the books that I have been currently reading, or books that I've recently finished. And then I'm going to get into a haul because I just bought a lot of books. And then we'll talk about how my writing journey has been going. So let's get straight into it, guys. Like, what? First, I want to start with The Immortal Dark. This was the Girls with Knowledge Book Club pick for the month of July. And I must say that going into this book, I did get this from Book Talk, and I've seen it everywhere on like Amazon and everything. I added it on the list for books to read on the July read because I wanted to get more deeper into fantasy. And we haven't read anything about like vampires or anything. And I knew this book was centered around Black vampires. So I was like, duh, I want to read it. I want to get into it. And I must say, y'all, that I was highly disappointed. Going into this book, I did know that it was YA, and I'm not against a lot of YA books. Another series I'm going to talk about is the Legendborn series, and I really did enjoy that one. But for some reason, this book, the main character was just a little bit all over the place for me. She inherited this house at Uxley University, and she really doesn't know anything about it. Her parents died at a young age. You start the book off, she was being convicted of a murder, and she finds out that she's inheriting this house. Her twin sister has gone missing, and she's just really all over the place and really want to figure out where is her twin sister. And guys, I must say this book it really felt like a little all over the place, but at the same time it felt like it was going really slow. So it was just a lot going on, y'all. The main character was really conflicting. Like, she was really going against herself. She was really against the vampires because she felt like one of the vampires stole her sister and they were just terrible people. But at the same time, she was always doing terrible things. Like, she was really on the bench for murder and everything. It just felt really just kind of all over the place. And then the ending felt really rushed. The ending didn't really make sense to me. Like, I get it. Sometimes they want to leave you confused, so you want to buy the second book. But in this case, I was like, I think I'm good off this second, because I don't know. It just felt like she was contradicting her own self in this book. She was doing the very things that she was chastising the vampires for. And it just didn't make sense to me. Also, I almost just stopped reading it, but I kept pushing for the sake of rereading it with the book club. And a lot of my other book club members of the Girls with Knowledge always said the same thing. They was like, yeah, it was okay. It wasn't what I went in expecting. I'd only seen like a couple people saying that they were going to buy the second book. So I don't know. It was okay, but it wasn't like worth all the hype that I saw around it, honestly. I wanted a bit more history. I wanted a bit more build up. I wanted something that just shocked me. It was just missing a lot of elements for me, and it just wasn't it for me. I gave it like 3 stars. It wasn't that good for me. But if you want to try it, the story is kind of cool. The way that she is tied to this house and how the house itself has like it's like its own being that messes with everyone that inhabits it as well. If you're into stuff like that, I say read it and let me know what you think. But for me, it just missed the mark for me. I just finished the first book of the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, and I say this book came back with a vengeance after reading the book that just left me like, I could have gone without. Going into the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin really did it for me, guys. I'm not gonna lie, from the very jump, it really reeled me in, and it is gonna be in one of my top 5 books of the year thus far. I'm gonna say that it's done it for me. So N.K. Jemisin is a Black woman in sci-fi, and the Hugo Award is one of the top awards you can get as a sci-fi writer, and N.K. Jemisin has that award for every book in her series, guys, and that's really rare to find, and I can see why. Normally when I read books like that and I hear that much hype about it, or I see they got the so-and-so awards, I'm like, is it really worth it? And I must say that this book deserves everything that it got. The book start off, so you're kind of like in the end of the world, and your main character that you're reading about, she has found out that her toddler son was murdered by her husband, and he has taken their daughter, and he's on the run with her. So in the beginning of the book, she's chasing after them, and she has in her mind that she's gonna the father, like no questions asked. And you're kind of like, okay, yeah, I can see why you want to do that. I want to see what's going on. Another aspect of this book that I found extremely interesting and I thought was so well done and made it really like one of the top modern reads for me is because she uses 3 POVs to tell this story. And I want you guys to read it, so I'm not going to reveal too much, but these 3 POVs are linked in a way that I wasn't expecting. And also one of the POVs is in second person, where it's like, you did this or you feel this way. And I've never read a book in second person. I kind of was skeptical going into it, but I would say that the second person POV was my favorite POV, and it also reeled me in the most. I felt it was the most immersive, and I feel like she executed it so well. The way she also built this world, its systems, the prejudices that you see in this book towards people with certain powers, and just how this world works is super interesting. Also, if you're into any type of geology, you learn a lot of aspects of geology in this book, because a lot of the powers that are taking place in the story is rooted in the ground, in rocks, and this power called origin that depends on the earth, that's kind of like attacking the back. The earth is like its own being that's not liking humans right now. So it was extremely intricate, extremely interesting. I will categorize this under high fantasy. It's something that you have to take your time with. It was an easy read for me. I got a lot of vocabulary out of this book that I wasn't familiar with, but it's not like a hard read. It's not like a he for Art Thou type book. It's really interesting. It really grips you from beginning to end. I'm almost done with the second. I'm halfway, a little over halfway. I'm 60% through the second book, Obelisk Gate. I'm reading that book on Kindle. Also, I've read the first book on Kindle, and I'm reading the second book on Kindle. And I must say that this is the second book that I finished on Kindle. And I will say that like I'm reading faster on the Kindle because I just take off the pages and the percentages, and it makes me read faster, especially at night. If I open the book up at night, I'm going to sleep. But for some reason on the Kindle, I'm able to stay up more. I really enjoyed the experience on the Kindle. This is also the first book that I was listening to on audiobook, because it was so good that when I was at work, I didn't want to stop having to read it. So I was listening to the audiobook, and the audiobook was also really immersive. I love how the narrator really told this story. It was really good. So the actor, or the voice actor, was really good for this book. So I will give this a 5 out of 5. Guys, please go read the 5th season. It's so good. I would say out of all the series that I've read so far, this has got it. And this will probably be like my top 3 of the year. I'm not sure yet. I don't want to get too far myself. I read some bangers this year, but this is definitely up there for the top reads of the year. N.K. Jemisin's 5th season. Get into it. Next, I want to say that I have started reading mangas. If you guys have watched my previous video, I was in Japan for a 16-hour layover, and I didn't get a hotel or anything. I just went straight for the 16 hours, walking around Japan, 2, 3 in the morning, just walking around Japan by myself. But it made me get into mangas because I visited a bookstore there, and the mangas were so cool looking, and they were so dope. I bought 2 mangas. I bought Akira and Spirited Away while I was out there. Those the English book sections, those stood out to me. I haven't started those yet, but I did buy some more mangas, and I will say that I read another top read of the year for me, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I would say that it is Solanin. Inio Asano. I'm gonna put it on the screen, guys. 10 out of 10. Like, I love this book. It came to me at a time in my life where I really needed it. The story is centered around the main character named Miko, who in the beginning of the book, she works as an office lady, and she's a recent graduate from college, similar to me. And she just realizing quickly that like corporate life and everything is not for her. She feels dead inside. She's making enough money to survive and to live and everything, but it just isn't enough for her. And she just, you know, she really hates it. So she ends up quitting her job. Now, this is an issue because she has a boyfriend that lives with her, and he's basically a deadbeat. Could never be me, but whatever. So he lives with her, and he's basically a bum, and she's navigating that with him. It's just a bunch of 20-year-olds, early 20-year-olds, navigating adulthood in Tokyo, and it's really beautiful. It's not like a super fast-paced action book. It's like a what they call a slice of life manga. So you're really just navigating and seeing these people navigating life in their 20s, where they're trying to balance adulthood and responsibilities while at the same time chasing after their dreams, creativity, all those things, relationship. And it's just really, really beautiful. There is a plot twist in this book that I absolutely was not expecting that really blew my mind. I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Like, you think everything's gonna really turn around, and then boom. So I would say really read this. This is another one of my top reads of the year. It was a really good book. The artwork in this book is absolutely insane. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Get into Solanin. So good. Especially, this is my first manga that I ever read, and I would say this is a very good introduction to mangas for me. Now, I also did read Tokyo Ghoul. I went to my friends for other recommendations on other mangas I should read. I read volume 1 on Tokyo Ghoul. It was really good. It's really good. So there's these beings called the ghouls in Tokyo, and they feed off of humans. They eat them. The main character, his name is Ken Kaneki, and he has a crush on this one girl, and they end up going on a date, and she ends up being a ghoul, tries to kill him, and she ends up dying because some type of bar or whatever falls on top of her, and they both are rushed to the hospital, and they end up switching her organs into him. And at that moment, he ends up having, because of the ghoul's organs inside of him, he ends up turning into a ghoul himself. And he's actually, the first book, he's battling not wanting to eat humans because he's half human, half ghoul now, and he doesn't want to eat humans and everything, and he's just battling with that in the first volume. It really intrigued me. It pulled me in. It was really interesting. I'm definitely gonna have to get more volumes of this. I didn't buy all the volumes at once because I felt like I want to try it out first. So I may return this to my bookstore and just buy all of them at one time. But I do love this first book. It was really intriguing. The artwork, I always say, like in mangas, the artworks go absolutely insane, and I thought this was really cool. So get into Tokyo Ghoul. Also, if you want like a nice action-packed, kind of like dark manga. Next, I've read Homunculus. So I would say this book highly disappointed me. Like, oh my gosh, y'all, it was so good. It was like the ending just was like, what? So Homunculus, this is a 30-year-old guy who lives in his car. He's homeless, and he is basically being approached by this medical student who wants to do a trepanation. It's either a type of brain surgery on him where they put a small hole in the front of his brain, and they feel like that it's going to bring you back to when you were a newborn, when you was relying on nothing but your senses instead of like things that you've learned from experience and everything. So basically they're going to put a hole in his head in order to see if they can give him some type of sixth sense where he can see different things. So this procedure gets done on him. After his car gets taken, then he ends up needing the money. So he ends up taking the medical student on his offer, and he gets the surgery done. As soon as he gets the surgery done, he doesn't see nothing at first. They're expecting him to see like different haunted beings and different spirits and everything. But he does end up seeing something else that is extremely weird. After a couple days after the surgery, he starts seeing like people that are disformed. Like when he covers his right eye, he can see deformed people. Like they'll have like heads cut off, or for instance, he sees this one person and he runs into this big mob boss, and he sees them as like a little boy trapped in some type of robot. And so, he's seeing all these weird things and he can't make any sense of it. He goes back, he meets the mob boss. He learns that the mob boss was some type of traumatic situation where he was playing around with his friend and he accidentally cuts his friend Pinky off. And ever since that day forward, he became this big mob boss, and his signature is that he cut people's pinkies off. And it turns out that was just trapped trauma that he had from a childhood when he hurt his friend and he couldn't do anything about it. He ran off after accidentally cutting his friend's pinky, and he just kept that trauma deep down, and it was unvisited. But he's, for some reason, sees him as a young boy trapped in a robot. After going back and talking to the medical student about it, they end up finding out that he can see, he has some type of sixth sense, but it's not like from what they were thinking it was. He can see people's deepest traumas, and it makes them look deformed. Like, for instance, they were at a restaurant and they saw this woman who was going through an abusive relationship previously, and the person would always choke her, and so she had like a deformed neck, or she would have no neck, and he looked at her again, her neck is super weird and deformed, and it's because that was the trauma that she went through. So he's able to basically see people's trauma, and I thought that was such an interesting way to have this type of power, and I really wanted to see where they was going to go with it. And then it got weird. Like, the ending was very pervy to me, because they meet this young girl and it just takes a left turn that was just like, what does this have to do with the plot? Like, they had me all the way up until that point, and that happens at the end, and it becomes like this weird fetish type thing. And I'm like, y'all had me. Like, this book really had the premise to be something cool, because I'm a psych graduate. I'm going to a master's in neuroscience and brain studies, and I felt that that was so interesting. Normally, I felt instantly when he was able to cover his right eye and he was able to see people deformed out of his left eye, I felt like maybe he did the procedure wrong and was on his right brain, and that's where he put the hole. Because normally, if you have something going on with your right brain, then the left side of your body has an issue. So I feel like maybe they cut off the senses in his right brain somehow, his senses in his right brain, and that's why he's able to see everything, which made sense. And I thought it was super interesting how they have the psychology factor of how people's deepest, darkest traumas in their subconscious mind was being shown consciously to this person as a deformed part of them, or whatever their trauma was hiding. So I thought that was really interesting. And then it just took a left turn, which really made me want to go and return the book, because I was like, I can't be a part of this. This is very pervy. Like, I can't. The ending was just so weird and nasty. I was like, no, thank you. So yeah, are some of my current reads, guys. So currently, I've been getting more into philosophy, and something that always stuck to me was Stoic philosophy. And I also wanted to get into this because I'm currently in the process of writing a sci-fi fantasy novel. Or I want to be soon to be a book series, but I'm working on the first book right now. And I wanted to know, like, what would ethics look like in this world that I'm building? What would be right or wrong? What would be the main philosophy that most people in this society follow by? So that most of the people in this society follow. So I've been doing some research and going back and going to some of my previous classwork, trying to get more into like ethics and sociology as well, and all these different things. And a philosophy that I always kind of coincided with was Stoic philosophy, which is kind of like a philosophy around, I think it's like a philosophy of being nonchalant. Basically, you're not you don't lean too much towards something, and you don't lean too much out of it. You're just kind of in the middle, and you're not easily aroused by anything or anything like that. And that's kind of like, I don't complete, because Stoic philosophy can get real robotic real fast to me. Like, you're supposed to cut off all feelings and never feel too close to something and never too far away from something, and just treat people with kindness and respect and everything like that. But at the same time, you're just like overly just too into things. So I knew of Stoic philosophy. I knew that it stuck to me. A lot of its principles stuck to me. So I have this collection of Stoic philosophers. I have the Meditations, which I have read before, but I want to go back and do a deeper dive on it, by Aurelius, Seneca, and other Stoic philosophers. So I've been getting back into these books, and currently I'm on Meditations, rereading it, and I'm gonna probably do a separate video on some of my thoughts and stuff on some of the books that I'm reading to build my own world and my own, situation, my own society, basically, off of these philosophies and different ideals. So far, going back and reading the Meditations, I do feel closely related to this, because I've ever been the type of person to be like overly just swayed by anything. I've never been this person that's I overthink everything, and I think everything twice. I don't just go with anything that anyone tells me as well, and that's a part of Stoic philosophy that I do like. But before I gather more opinions on it, I'm still gonna go back and reread everything, and trying to get back into the Stoics. So I do enjoy this. This is one of my favorite philosophies to read, and especially Meditations is one of my favorite philosophy. For one of my favorite writings to read when it comes to Stoic philosophy. So I definitely am going to finish and get more into this. But I say try it out. get into the Stoic philosophers. Next, I've been reading some excerpts from the selected works of H.G. Wells. Currently, I'm reading The Time Traveler because I want to get back into reading more sci-fi. I haven't been reading as much this year so far. And like I said, I'm going to write my own sci-fi fantasy novel. So I've been getting more into that. I've been reading The Time Traveler. I'm just a couple pages into that one. I like it so far. I love the beginning. Something that I've been gravitating a lot towards is concepts of time, relativity, the theory of relativity by Einstein, and all those different things. Space and time have always intrigued me, especially since lately I've been getting into astrophysics and everything and studying that and reading up on it. They said one of the grandfathers of sci-fi is H.G. Wells, and I've been enjoying it so far, and I see the hype. The first book of The Time Traveler obviously intrigues me because I'm into the time travel concept and I want to integrate that into my own book series. So I've been reading up on it and I really do enjoy it so far. Lastly, I have been reading my Bible. I've been starting from beginning to the end. So right now I am still in Genesis and I'm trying to do more readings on that. And I'm in a point of my life where I just feel like I need to get closer to him. So I've been just going back and reading a lot of my Bible. I've also bought a copy of the Quran as well because I've always been interested in other religions as well, outside of Christianity. And also I've been reading a lot and just been, questioning my approach towards religion. I know that God is real and I believe in God, but as far as the practicing and everything like that, I don't know. I've just been reading more. Let's put it that way. I haven't really made my own consensus yet, but I'm going back and reading the Bible from beginning to the end alongside with the Quran and everything. And I'm just reading it and seeing how I feel. I've also have been reading, I've read the Legendborn series book 1 and 2, 10 out of 10. I really do enjoy this series. It doesn't even feel YA to me. It really doesn't feel YA. The story takes place in North Carolina. Our main character, whose name is also BriFre, she is a middle college student. Basically, it's like when some high school students can take college courses and actually be on a college campus. I was a dual enrollment student, but I didn't go to the actual college and take classes at a college. And that's what she's doing. But while she's there, she's uncovers secrets of this secret society that's there, that is secretly tied to her. They follow King Arthur and all his nice lineages, and everyone has powers from it. But she finds out that she becomes intertwined because she feels like someone in this society has killed her mother, who died just a few weeks before she came to the college. And it all hell breaks loose from there. It's a very intricate. I honestly would say this is high fantasy. The lineages, how much they intertwine. And when I see mentions of root magic in this book, oh my gosh, 10 out of 10. This book really did for me. And I feel like if you're going to do a YA series and have that are targeted, or I don't feel like this was targeted to more of an adult audience, but I feel like adult audiences could really enjoy this as well, because I typically stay away from YA for the exact reason that I feel like I can't relate to it anymore. It seems childish and it seems like I've been past this stage of my life and this seems stupid. I don't really want to read it. But it's nothing like that. This person is kind of she's 16, she's 17 going on 18, and she went through a lot in life that really matured her. And I really do enjoy this book. It's so good. There's so many plot twists that you wouldn't see coming. The first book hooked me instantly. The day that I finished it, I went to the bookstore to grab the second one. That's how good it was. Get into Legendborn, guys. It is so good. So good. I don't have any complaints from this series, honestly. I wrote out literally diagrams to understand. Well, it's not hard to understand at all, but I just wanted to keep up with it because I was always guessing, okay, maybe this is what it is. And I was wrong. I also love when a book isn't predictable. You think it's going one way and it's totally not. I really did enjoy this series, guys. Please get into the Legendborn series. If you want to see, especially if you're in the Deep South and you know a little bit about root work and everything, get into it. I loved it. This was a beautiful way to integrate Southern Gothic culture and Southern spirituality into a series as well and make it modern. I really did enjoy it. Get into Legendborn, guys. Please, just get into it. Okay. Next, I want to get into some recent pickups that I've gotten in the past few weeks. I showed you guys some of the mangas. I started reading mangas, and obviously if I was going to read mangas, I had to get some comics. So let's go into some mangas and comics that I've gotten, shall we? First, I saw this creator on TikTok. His name is Brent Trace Sands, and I got a signed copy of the Impound comics. These books I don't even know much about. Y'all know when it comes to me, I don't even read the back of the books much. I just look at the cover and look at this, guys. The cover is fire. I don't have much to say on it. I don't even know what it's about, honestly. I know that the main character, I don't remember. I know that the main character was a boxer, and somehow he gets powers. And I want to save this for its own video on my adventure into comics. And I bought a lot of comics, so I want to get into my adventure into mangas and comics. And this is going to be the first comic that I've read since Captain Underpants, so when I was in middle school. So I can't wait to get into this, guys. The Impound series, the creator was the creator of this series and this company is extremely nice. The shipping was extremely fast. Like, I got it in I think less than 4 days. It came pretty quickly. They came signed, and I am so excited to get into it. I did a flip through, and the artwork looked sick. Like, the artwork looked crazy. So Impound series, I wanted to collect more black comic books from independent comic companies, and so this will be my first, and I'm going to do a separate video on my reviews of comics and manga, so stay tuned for that, guys. And let me know, please suggest other black and brown comic books and comic series and characters, and I will literally collect them and get into it, because I want to start my own collection as well. So Impound Comics, get into it. Next, I've gotten The Drifting Classroom. The cover got me. It made me stop and look at it when I was at the bookstore looking at it. So Drifting Classroom by Kazu Umez. And it is about a classroom, a school that just randomly disappears. And there's nothing there but a hole in the ground. The parents and everyone starts mourning them. And it turns out that these students and teachers wind up waking up in some type of wasteland. And it gets sick from there. I also like picking up books that I don't hear a lot about, and I haven't heard a lot about this on like Book Talk or anything. I didn't see much about it when I looked it up, so I don't know, it made me get into it. I'm gonna check it out. They said that this one's like an older one as well. I also just got the first volume of Erased. Don't know much about it. Literally, one of my Book Talk friends told me to try it out if I like dark psychological book series, and they said that it was gonna be really good, so I just got it. So Erased, the cover looks cool and fire. I want to know what's going on with these. Like, it looks like kids. I want to see what's going on. They look alone. I don't know if they're orphaned or what, but the cover looks fire, and I'm gonna get into it. Next, I've gotten the PTSD series. They said that I don't know what it is, y'all, but maybe because Halloween's around the corner and fall is my favorite season. I love all things spooky. So they said this is a psychological dark thriller book series, also horror, and I didn't have anything horror. So I wanted to get into the PTSD series. They said that it's a good manga PTSD like horror book series. So I wanted to see what it was about. The covers look freaking creepy and weird and cool. So I was like, let me try it. I'm gonna try it, y'all, and I'm gonna give y'all a review. I also wanted to get one that I saw was overhyped, because one thing about me, I love getting books that I see are overhyped and determine for myself if it's worth the hype. So I got Vinland Saga, the deluxe edition. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. This is book 1. It has multiple volumes in it. I don't know much about it. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to let you guys know and give my honest review when I'm done with it. Unfiltered too. Y'all know how I get. So I'm excited about that. Next, keeping up with spooky season around the corner, fall season, and wanting to get more. I just randomly thought about the Goosebumps books from when I grew up. I loved reading horror books, and the Goosebumps series always had me intrigued. I saw this little tin. I wanted to collect it because I also want to build my new shelf, because I've definitely outgrown the shelves that I bought so far. So I need a new shelf, and I wanted to have little things that I can put up there. And so I got some of the Goosebumps books just for nostalgia. I got House of Leaves by Mark Danielewski. And I heard that these were good. I know this is another like type of classic type book. I know that it's a psychological book that goes through the lives of multiple characters, and I've heard nothing but good things. So I also have been I want horror elements in my series as well. So y'all know it's gonna be a mix of all of my favorite passions in this series that I'm making. So I wanted to get back into some psychological thrillers and everything, and they said this one was a really good one. I don't remember much about it. Next, guys, I wanted to get into some books that I've gotten that are more educational. Philosophy is one of my sweet spots. Physics is one of my sweet spots. So let's get into what I've gotten in those regards. So I've gotten Physics and Philosophy by Werner Heisenberg. I saw this book on Amazon, and I was just looking for some things that integrated some of my greatest passions, which is, philosophy. I'm really interested in learning about different philosophies, and then also physics. I like physics, and especially when it comes to quantum physics. So I got this book to learn more about it, and I saw good recommendations on there, and I just want to see how this author is going to integrate both the concepts of physics and philosophy into one story. So that's why I got that one. I also got Plato's The Symposium. I did have to read this in one of my classes. Don't remember much about it. Want to go back and read it now and try to digest this and make my own opinions about it. I want to do a lot of books on human instincts, about why we are the way we are, and some thoughts on why that is, and where a better place to start than with the oldest philosophers. So I got this book just to get more into that. I also got Plato's The Last Day of Socrates. I remember having to read a lot of Socrates. I had to take a philosophy class, I think like my sophomore year of college, and Socrates was like really just a contrarian. And I also wanted to see, I think I read an excerpt from The Last Days of Socrates that we had to read and do a paper on. Again, when you're in college, you're just trying to, well, I know when I was in college, I was trying to read and learn to pass that class. So I wasn't really truly digesting it. I was just trying to pass. And because one thing about me, I don't like being forced to read something because I have to. I want to do it on my own, and now I want to do it on my own. So now I'm gonna read The Last Days of Socrates and see how I feel about it. I remember him as being really annoying and really just a contrarian. He just really wanted to test the way people think, always quizzing people why they think the way they think, why you feel like this is right, etc. So I got this book. Next, I have Asata, an autobiography by Asata Shakur. I always read interviews, I always watched interviews and short documentary series about Asata Shakur. I knew that she had fled to Cuba after being targeted by the U.S. government. She was a civil rights activist. She really fought for a lot of things, and I wanted to really get into her life and know the truth about her, because I know she was set up in some type of situation where they said she killed a cop and, everything like that. I felt like her life was really interesting. So I always wanted to read this, never got the opportunity to, and what a better way to start than by reading an autobiography that she wrote. So I am super interested in getting into this. I feel like this woman is so cool, along with the lines of she always reminded me of Angela Davis, and I have been reading a lot of her books as well. Oh, this is also another one of my current reads. I've read Woman, Race, and Class by Angela Davis. I'm going to put it on the screen, and I'm halfway through that. I don't know why I didn't mention that in the beginning of the video, but I'm mentioning it now. And she always reminded me of her, how she looks. So I wanted to get into this and also give an honest review on this as well. Next, I got Carl G. Jung, Man and His Symbols. I had to read a lot of his works while I was in college, especially in Psych 101. And I don't really recall a lot of it. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I took a lot of these prereq classes while I was in high school, so I really haven't visited a lot of his work since high school. And so I just wanted to go back and read this. I know that this book is more of, I know he was really into dreams and interpreting the subconscious, and the subconscious mind always intrigued me. So I wanted to go back and read his works. On Dante's The Divine Comedy, The Inferno, Purgatory, and Paradise. It's not in English, but that's what I'm gonna read it as. It was about the 3 levels. I know that this was going through. I haven't read much about this. I've heard so many references to it, and I wanted to read it for myself to A, see if I could get it, and B, to have a deep breaking down of it. Like I said, I've been in a part of my life where I was just, questioning religion and everything. So I feel like this was a good start to starting reading it. I've heard good reviews about it. Yeah, so I'm gonna get into it. I have the 3-book series by Leonard Susskind, the theoretical minimum. This is an intro to quantum mechanics, quantum physics, and all those things. And I wanted to get into it because I have a psychology undergraduate. Because I have a psychology undergraduate degree, I never got into the hard sciences like physics and all that extra stuff. So I wanted a beginner's, I kind of work through The theoretical minimum, special relativity and classical field theory, general relativity, and quantum mechanics. These are all areas that always interested me, especially because I'm a huge Marvel head and you always see these principles integrated in it. And like I said, three things that always intrigued me was space, time, and matter, and all those things. So I always wanted to get into it, and I want to see how I can use these principles and integrate it into my stories as well. So I'm doing some research and reading up on it, and I thought, what a better way to start than here. So I got this series. So guys, these are all the books that I have been currently reading, some of my recent pickups, and I am going to be revealing that I am writing my own book series. So far, I know that it's going to be two main characters and they have a shared villain, but they are both in two different timelines, and I'm just working on my way from there. I'm building it from the ground up right now. I've been stuck in like the planning stage for the past 2 weeks. Like I said, I'm getting multiple books to help myself with theory, because I don't want a sci-fi series that's just like left field. I feel like the books that I'm most interested in have real elements of real theories, real research, real science in it, real life principles and life lessons, but then it pushes it a little bit more. That's where you get your fantasy from. But I don't want mine to feel uncanny. Like, I don't want it to feel like something's a little off like that. You know what I mean? I want some psych. Obviously, I love psychology. I love brain science. I love all those things. So I want to integrate some of my greatest passions into one great sci-fi fantasy thriller. Well, I don't really like thrillers because I'll be like, get to the point. So I don't know if I'm going to integrate like some thrillers, but I want it to be very not slowly paced. I wanted to make you think. I wanted to push the envelope a bit more about what we understand about our world. And that's where I'm at with it, guys. I haven't even gotten a title. I haven't even gotten all those things. I just have my two main characters for right now, and I'm working on how their lives are intertwined. So that's currently what I'm working on. I'm also practicing more on my grammar, my reading, more just sharpening my writing skills in general, because I don't want books to sound like how I talk, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want it to be so dumbed down, but I do want it to be easy to read. I don't want it to be super high intellectual, crazy. No, it's not going to be YA. It's definitely going to be an adult series. But that's where I'm at with it, guys. At the end of my videos, I want to highlight a certain comment and also discuss on it. So one of the comments that really stood out to me, MStar102 says, genuine question. I also want to read books like The Bell Jar and East of Eden. How did you deal with the racist views and language in those books? And do you attribute the racism to the views of the author? So I really enjoyed this question. It really stood out to me because The Bell Jar, I don't feel like the book itself was racist. I honestly didn't even care to go back and look into like the history of this character, of the writer. I did see some of those accusations on her from social media and everything. I personally just felt like the book came from a very privileged perspective, because like what it was like, because I felt like the book came from a very privileged perspective, because this young white girl has the opportunity during a time that was before the women's suffrage movement, that was at a time when racism was rapid, and at a time when other Black and brown communities weren't viewed as equal. And she had the opportunity to go to school. She had all these opportunities. And I'm not saying that you can help that mental depression happens to you, but I also feel like the book just wasn't going anywhere. Like, I didn't see why she was in a mental institution. I don't know if the author was trying to highlight what goes on in mental institutions at that time and everything like that. But it just felt like I honestly, I cannot tell you what was missing in that book. It just felt like, what's the point? Like, I just finished the book, like, what was the goal? That's all it was. And for East of Eden, I do feel like definitely did have some like elements of that in it, because there was only three. Not saying that the book had to have Black characters in it. It was the fashion in which the Black characters were presented. For instance, like there's only 3 Black characters mentioned. One was a prostitute that one of the characters had relations with, and then she found out that this character, he was sleeping with a whole bunch of girls, but apparently the Black one that he slept with gave him chlamydia, and then he went back and was very violent and had his mind set on going to kill this woman. Like, he wanted to murder her, and it was like books about that, and it was like, dang, why he feel that about none of the other prostitutes? He could have got from all of them. Well, you know. And then the other two black characters that was mentioned was, one was the woman that owned a brothel, and another one was her husband. And then they kind of made a spectacle of her funeral, kind of like they all went there to see her. It was like kind of like a weird way of seeing it. And then her husband was kind of seen as kind of like insubordinate, and like, you know, it was just really weird that that's how they were framed. But I will also say that the one Chinese character that was in there was more idolized. He was looked as more the person that was of wisdom and was pretending to be subservient and ignorant and stuff like that, when really he had all the wisdom. And it kind of like, why did you treat the Chinese character like that, but then the black people in the character was always looked at some type of derogatory type of viewpoint? And I felt that was weird. But you asked, do they attribute to the views of the author? Girl, that's what I got from it, because why are only 3 black characters you have in this story were viewed that way and you put them out that way? But then also, this book was written in the 50s by a white man. So it's like, you know, it was like, okay, maybe this is his views. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was, given the time period that this book came out and everything about it. Even there was a slur in the book for how they described flowers that I literally had to look it up. Like, what? And I was like, oh, okay. And it says on Google, when I looked it up, it says it was a derogatory term that was used to describe flowers that had like a bushy top to them. So, you know, what else do you, I mean, can I have comments from the class? Like, that's what I felt like. But I will say that the book was still good. I finished it. The book was good. I can see why it was considered one of those books. I will be watching the Netflix series. And most of these classic writers that you're going to read and see about, at the time they was writing this book, they was probably racist. It's just racist too. So, I mean, what can we do? I read it, I take it for the story that it is, I take the lessons from it, and I go about my day. I mean, what can we do? You don't know what any of these people were thinking, especially like, oh my gosh, girl. I'm not gonna get into like the mangas and like how they depict women and like some of the ideals, because like I'm definitely returning Homunculus because of like the ending was like really weird on his theory on how to like help her. But guys, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subbing. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for all the above. Continue to pursue all attainable visions, because every vision that you have is attainable. I see you guys in the next video. Bye.